Now that you have developed that inner power, how do you use it? Of what use is a weapon if you don't know how to use it? Well, in this video, I will teach you how to use that inner power you developed. You ready? Let's journey together. Nick Nisa is seated, and this is Exegesis, your daily spiritual meal. Our topic still remains wisdom of serpents. Wisdom of serpents. If you are new here, I am your Holy Ghost filled exegete. In our previous episode, we learned about how to develop our inner power. In today's episode, we are looking at how to use that inner power we develop. Let's read. Serpents are wise because they use the power in their mouth. Snakes use their mouths as weapons to fight, to win, and to dominate their enemies. Snakes do not chew their food. Their teeth are good for catching and holding prey, but not suitable for chewing. They have a very flexible lower jaw, the two halves of which are not rigidly attached. They also have numerous other joints in their skull, allowing them to open their mouths wide enough to swallow their prey whole. Snakes are therefore able to swallow their prey whole even if it is larger in diameter than the snake itself. This kind of mouth, combined with the venom, makes a snake an awesome predator. A believer that knows how to use the powers of the mouth dominates his environment because life and death are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:20-21 says, "A man's belly shall be filled with the fruit of his mouth. With the increase of his lips shall he be satisfied." Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Let us prove the claim that life and death are in the power of the tongue with some biblical examples. Example 1, Mark 11:12-14 and 19-21. So Mark 11 verse 12-14 and 19-21. The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard him say it. Verse 19. When evening came, they went out of the city. Verse 20. In the morning, as they went along, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots. Peter remembered and said to Jesus, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered." The fig tree you cursed has withered. Example 2. John 11:38-44. John 11:38-44. Jesus, once more deeply moved, came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. "Take away the stone," he said. "But Lord," said Martha, the sister of the dead man, "by this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days." Then Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. Then Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." When he said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and a cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go. Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out. The powers of the mouth. The inner power a believer develops is manifested through faith talk. The inner power a believer develops is manifested through faith talk. How does the believer use the powers of the mouth? Let's look at how the believer uses the powers of the mouth. 1. A believer uses the powers of the mouth to confess salvation. A believer uses the powers of the mouth to confess salvation. Romans 10, 9 to 10. Romans 10, 9 to 10 says, if thou shalt confess with thy mouth Jesus as Lord, and shalt believe in thy heart that God raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. With the mouth confession is made unto salvation. Number 2, a believer uses the powers of the mouth to recreate, reframe, and remold his life. A believer uses the powers of the mouth to recreate, reframe, and remold his life. Hebrews 11:3. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 3 says, by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith we understand that the universe was made out of God's command. We understand that the universe was formed at God's command. Genesis chapter 1 verse 3 says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. Genesis 1, 6 to 7, and God said, let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth. And that is what happened. Genesis 1:9, then God said, let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear. And guess what? That is exactly what happened. Genesis 1:11, then God said, let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came. And that is what happened. Genesis 1:14 to 15, then God said, let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth. And guess what? That is what happened. Genesis 1:20, then God said, let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind. And that is what happened. Genesis 1:24 and 26, and God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. 26, then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. And it was so. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command. Psalm 82 verse 6 says, ye are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High. We are gods, so at our command, things must happen. If only we can start using the powers of our mouth like our Father, absolutely nothing shall be impossible for us. Matthew chapter 17:20 says, Matthew 17:20 says, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. You have so much power in your mouth to recreate, to reframe, and remold your life. If you don't like the direction of your life, redirect it using the powers of your mouth. You will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Use the powers of your mouth to remove unwanted things in your life. Use the same powers of your mouth to move beautiful things into your life. Number 3, a believer uses the powers of the mouth as a weapon to fight, to win, and to dominate enemies. A believer uses the powers of the mouth as a weapon to fight, to win, and to dominate enemies. 1 Samuel 17, verse 45 to 46. 1 Samuel 17, 45 to 46 says, David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have mocked. This day the Lord will hand you over to me, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. Today I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and the whole world will know there is a God in Israel. And the whole world will know there is a God in Israel. Guys, enough of the negative talks. Positive confessions only. When you wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Use the powers of the mouth to recreate, reframe, and remold your life. Use the powers of your mouth as a weapon to fight and to win and to dominate your enemies. Okay, this is all time will allow us for today. If you are blessed by this video, kindly hit the like button, leave a comment, and share the link for others to enjoy. Also, subscribe to my channel and enjoy the subsequent teachings on the wisdom of serpents. In our next episode, we shall look at overcoming handicaps. Thank you for watching Exegesis.